Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show on the go. I'm your humble host, Bobby Brown. Hope you guys doing well, because all is not well in here in New York City or New York State. All is not well. Today we're going to talk about the rise and fall of an American dictator. Yes, in America, we got people who want to act like they're freaking dictators and want to do dictator things, oppress people, put people on watch, put people on blast, harass people, the whole 9 yard, incinerate people. Oh, y'all thought Trump was bad, and Trump is bad. But Trump ain't got the smarts and the cojones and the guts of this guy. Don't get me wrong. Don't miss me. Don't dismiss me. Don't go around thinking I'm a Trumper and I'm siding with Trump. And who are you people who think you got to take a side in these fights that's not even your freaking fight? What kind of ignorant weed you smoking? What kind of ignorant cocaine you sniffing that you got to pick one of the two? Democrat, Republican, conservative, left wing. Two wings on a bird. Same freaking bird. Same strongly positioned government agencies that play tit for tat with the American people ain't gonna do nothing for them. You're there to appease to them. You're there to supply to them what they need so they can dictate world domination. You're assisting them. We're assisting them with our tax dollars and everything. And some of these people just get jacked up on power. Like Andrew Cuomo. Now, guys, understand you're going to hear a little background because I'm not officially home. So you might hear some noise in the background, a little Chris Brown playing in the background. You know, a little Trey Songz. You might hear that because, you know, we have to buy for quiet time around here. We're going to talk about this today because recently I was going on a tangent and I was biting my tongue about Cuomo using dictator tactics, fascist tactics, authoritarian tactics to try to control New Yorkers into following his leadership into the pit of this COVID mess that he's in. This man has done some recent things. We're going to talk about it. But what I want to start off is what happened today. Governor Cuomo himself. Governor Cuomo himself has been charged by the Attorney General of New York State. A woman he tried to call his friend, but she's not really his friend. He just called her that to keep her close, thinking most black women going to just, you know, I say you're my friend and I cater to you. You're going to be so bewildered by me because I'm a Cuomo, because I'm a man of power, and because I'm white. You're going to be opposing to me. If I give you some props, you're going to want to be around me anyway. We're going places, baby. Just follow my lead. Well, Tish James ain't following his lead. Now, a lot of people say Tish James compromised, and she could be compromising in a whole bunch of areas I don't know about. But I know when it came to us fighting for fair wages at my job, she was there for us. When it came to us doing investigations on the company, she was there to help the investigations go through. Now, mind you, she did run as a Democrat, but she wasn't part of the Democratic Party until recently. We was hoping that she's going to run for mayor in the place of to run out Bill de Blasio, but she didn't, and she don't have to because she's an AG. Usually, you go from AG to LG, lieutenant governor, and then eventually you end up being governor because Andrew Cuomo was the attorney general at one time. He's one of those wash my hand, I wash yours. You know, you watch my back, I got your back. You bury the dead bodies, and I'll kill anybody who say anything about them. Well, not, I'm just playing, paraphrasing. Well, Tish James blew the freaking whistle on him today. So before we get started, let me go up and put this up here. In good faith, this work contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyrighted images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial, non-profit educational purposes. No money is being made for this video. The work is distributed free of charge. The author has neither monetized this work nor sought any profit from its distribution. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, that's me. Educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This work contains original work or commentary and critical analysis. Quotations are contributed to the original authors and is source. Of course, I have to always put that up there because you got a bunch of punks over here in tech land. Little snowflakes. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get right into this video. And we're going to break some of this stuff down. I'm going to try not to watch it all. But here we go.
Good morning. I'm joined here today by Ann Clark and June Kim, the two lead attorneys who were designated as special deputies to the Attorney General's office to announce the findings of their investigation into allegations of sexual harassment made against Governor Andrew Cuomo. I'll make a brief statement and then turn it over to Ms. Clark and to Mr. Kim, who will delve into the investigation's findings. The independent investigation has concluded that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women and in doing so violated federal and state law.
All right, so before we get into this, understand who the investigator is. I think the investigator is one Latino woman, one Asian man, and you got the Attorney General, Letitia James, is the main prosecutor in this situation, and she's the one handing down the gavel. So ultimately, the decision runs with her. Now, this could turn around and burn her, and then the next person that will step up as AG, possibly in the future, or possibly governor, is one of these two people that we're about to show. Now, she's going to go briefly over it. I'll let the two investigators talk about a couple of incidents that they believe is considered sexual harassment, sexual assault. But I will be breaking this down, and then we'll go to some other sources before we do a dialogue on this.
Specifically, the investigation found that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed current and former New York State employees by engaging in unwelcome and non-consensual touching and making numerous offensive comments of a suggestive and sexual nature.
So she said he's being convicted of former employees and current employees. Some of them worked on his staff. Some of them work with him. So for you numbnuts out here trying to think this is a Trump setup, you dummies. Guys, you got to get your freaking head. You're so in this cult that you think everything against one of your leaders may not be the leader, but if somebody attacking one of your leaders, it's a conspiracy. They set this up. No, Marion Barry was a setup, according to him. They set Marion Barry up all day, every day. The man had a crack habit, and they capitalized on the crack habit. They set him up. Oh, they literally set them up. They put a camera behind the mirror. They had the lady, and the whole prostitution. And man. Sometimes you gotta get a little pum pum and some cocaine. That's what we heathens do. That's what heathens do. Get high and get sex. All right, come on now. Some of y'all women out there be talking about I'm 420 friendly. We know what that means. I'm 420. You got weed, I got sex. Get out of here. That's how it was back in the 70s when the Bill Cosby day. You got Quaaludes and you got uppers and downers and cocaine. I got sex. And then here it is, 30, 40 later. Oh, he raped me. This ain't 40 years later. This is current and former. Current and former. Current and former.
That created a hostile work environment for women.
Not only did they say he touched these women unwittingly, like Joe Biden sniffing the lady hair and the lady said, I ain't like that, and y'all want to jump on the lady. You don't supposed to be sniffing people. Nobody asked you to sniff my hair, bro. Why are you sniffing my hair? Well, I actually be rubbing my kid's face and kissing them all on the face and kissing my grandma in the mouth and rubbing her. Who asked you to do that? And she ain't gonna snap back on you because you the vice president. So let's continue with this.
The investigators independently corroborated and substantiated these facts through interviews and evidence.
Through facts. Through interviews and evidence. Through interviews and evidence. Now I'm looking up something real quick. Just bear with me. So just hang in there with me. All right, so let's get back into it.
Including contemporaneous notes and communications. This evidence will be made available to the public along with the report.
So they got tangible evidence, emails, probably some text, little notes here and there. She said she's going to make it available for everybody to see, which is good.
This investigation was started after a number of women publicly alleged that they had been sexually harassed by Governor Cuomo. And on March 1st of this year, the governor's office made a referral to my office pursuant to State Executive Law 63-8 regarding these allegations.
So in other words, Governor Cuomo trying to blow it off. Oh, fine, investigate me. Investigate me. Now, mind you, at this time, when people do that, they go outside to do these tactics to try to strong arm you into not saying anything, or strong arm you into backing down, or strong arm into a position where you're not comfortable and you change your story. No, you can investigate me. Cuomo started I can't think of the name, but it was a state assembly organization that pretty much was a scapegoat to not do progressive issues. The IDC, the Independent Democratic Caucus. He created the Independent Democratic Caucus as a subversion or as a head fake. Kind of like what Joe Biden doing with Manchin and Sinema. Y'all want to blame everything on Manchin and Sinema. It ain't just them. They're doing what Biden put them there to do, to be the fall guy. And they'll be gladly to take the fall. They'll be glad to do that. So this is one of those situations where this fall guy thing, you see, he thinks he's a fall guy. He thinks he's an innocent victim in this thing. But they got tangible evidence on you, dude.
Executive Law Section 6338 permits the New York Attorney General's office, with the approval of the governor, or when directed by the governor, to inquire into matters concerning the public peace.
Now, this is what I was getting to. See, he allowed her to investigate him. Now, why would he allow her to investigate him? Well, she assumed that you're Team Democrat. So you're not going to do these things to us as a result of it. So we're going to do what I did with IDC. See, when I created the IDC, the Independent Democratic Caucus, I used them to kind of do what I really didn't want to do. I said I wanted to do it in the face of the public, but I knew I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want y'all to know I didn't want to do it. So I had to create a subversion or a distraction to get your mind, to head fake you. I don't want to do these things, but I ran on a platform saying I was going to do these things. So I got to act like I'm fighting for these things for you so you can believe that I'm fighting for you. Yet at the same time, I got these people over here that's fighting against you, and it looks like they're against you. Really, it's me and those people that are against you, but they're taking the heat. They're becoming the fall guy because that's their job. See, the Independent Democratic Caucus begin to work an organization. Now, Cuomo created an organization to investigate the crimes of politicians, to really look into corruptions of New York politicians, because Lord knows they need to look into them. Matter of fact, they need to go national with the situation because there's too many crooked politicians on the left and right that they need to have a consistent investigation team to look into them, with another investigation team to look into the investigation team. So once he created that organization so they can investigate his opposition. That's what that organization was designed to do, to investigate his opposition. But when they turned around and started investigating him, Cuomo now, he shut the organization down. oh no, y'all looking at the wrong person. And it seemed like this is what's happening again. You can investigate me, but he figured they were going to find a stalemate somewhere, and they did not find a stalemate. And let me tell you something. A lot of these women today are more feminist than they are black. They're more feminist than they are white, even though they're black and white. You may think they're going to have your side just because you're a Democrat and you're white. They may not. Well, let's keep going.
The public safety and public justice. This referral issued by the governor enabled my office to appoint independent outside investigators to look into these allegations. And on March 8th, 2021, Ann Clark and June Kim, they were officially deputized as special deputies. Ms. Clark and Mr. Kim and their respective firms were chosen to lead this investigation because of their decades of work at the highest levels, their deep expertise on matters in question, and their careers fighting to uphold the rule of law. Ann Clark is a partner at Vladnick, Raskin, and Clark PC, where she focuses on employment law issues on behalf of employees at the trial and appellate levels. And during her more than 30-year career, Ms. Clark has represented clients in a variety of employment, sexual harassment, and other discrimination cases in the private sector, in education, and in government. She also has deep experience with retaliation, whistleblower, breach of contract, and compensation and benefit cases. June Kim is a partner at Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen, and Hamilton, LLP. And for more than 2 decades, he has worked at the highest levels of government and in private practice. From March 2017 to January 2018, he served as the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. as the most senior.
And that's your guy they're going to groom up to be the next attorney general, if not the next attorney general, the next governor. Eventually, there may be a battle between Tish James and this guy as governor. And what's going to happen is he'll probably be the governor and Tish James will be the lieutenant governor. Some of this stuff you can see coming a mile away.
Federal law enforcement officer in the district. He oversaw all criminal and civil litigation conducted on behalf of the United States. Before becoming acting United States attorney, Mr. Kim served in various leadership positions in the office, including Deputy United States Attorney, Chief of the Criminal Division, and Chief Counsel to the United States Attorney. Ms. Clark and Mr. Kim are experienced, credible, and deeply respected professionals. And together, they ensured that this investigation was both independent and thorough. Over the course of the 5-month investigation, the investigators spoke to 179 individuals, including complainants, current and former members of the executive chamber, state troopers, additional state employees, and others who interacted regularly with the governor.
I don't need no to do.
Where staffers did not feel comfortable coming forward with complaints of former state employees in violation of both federal and state laws.
That's where I want to get to.
The current and former members of the executive chamber, state troopers, additional state employees, and others who interacted regularly with the governor. In addition, they reviewed more than 74,000 pieces of evidence, including documents, emails, texts, audio files, and pictures. These interviews and pieces of evidence reveal a deeply disturbing yet clear picture. Governor Cuomo sexually harassed current and former state employees in violation of both federal and state laws. The independent investigation found that Governor Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women, many of whom were young women, by engaging in unwanted groping, kisses, hugging.
Now, as a man who works a job and you get a lot of good-looking women always trying to, they can look at you and flirt with you, but you sure can't do that, man. You sure can't do that. Can't do that, man. And once you complain about so and so, they don't take you serious. Honestly speaking, what you do once you get off the job is your own business. You're off the clock. Governor Cuomo's situation, he cannot not be the governor. It's who you are. It's not just your job. 24/7, you're the governor. When you take positions of power where you have to be ready to rock and roll 24 hours, you get a salary, which means there's no time clock. You got to watch yourself. Now, you're a time clock person. Of course, I ain't hollering at her at work. And if they got, and to me, it's just, why it's not even good to me personally to put in your policy that you can't date somebody from your job. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you date somebody from your job because that stuff turns sour, especially if they're on the same shift. It's just like having your family member work on a job. To me, don't be on the same shift. Man, you ask them all kinds of stuff to happen. Don't date nobody on your job. But I wouldn't say you shouldn't be able to date. You're not allowed. You shouldn't have that privilege to date because a lot of people fall in love on their job, get married on their job, and have great lives. So I but in this situation, Cuomo is not. You're 24/7 the governor, man. So you can't just be putting your hand on any woman. And then again, what is unwanted? And yeah, it comes to the day now that you got to ask, is it okay that I rub your back? mean, we out to dinner. We off for work. Is it okay? We're off we're off duty. Is it okay? I give you a shoulder rub. See, this thing, this Me Too thing, and this sexual harassment thing, is a toughie. Cause you can't, brother, you can't even holler at nigga. Yo, what's up? You can't even do that. You assaulted me. What? I just say, hey, girl, what's up? But now everything you got to say on the inside. You see a fine girl walk by, and she got a splickity, splow. You say within yourself, God dang, she got a. I mean, you got to say it in yourself. You can't say it out loud. And it's going to get to the point where the laws get so stringent that if a police officer see you turn around and look at a woman backside, they may arrest you for sexual harassment. Oh, boy.
And by making inappropriate comments. Further, the governor and his senior team took actions to retaliate against at least one former employee for coming forward with her story, her truth.
So the woman come forward and then you do a tactic to intimidate her. That's what I talked about. That's the reason why he said go ahead and do the investigation, because you're probably not going to find nothing. Because he probably would not thought somebody would still come out and tell this after you don't put up some kind of pressure on him.
Governor Cuomo's administration fostered a toxic workplace that enabled harassment and created a hostile work environment where staffers did not feel comfortable coming forward with complaints about sexual harassment due to a climate of fear and given the power dynamics. The investigators found that Governor Cuomo's actions and those of the executive chamber violated multiple state and federal laws, as well as the executive chamber's own written policies. This investigation has revealed conduct that corrodes the very fabric and character of our state government and shines light on injustice that can be present at the highest levels of government. But none of this would have been illuminated if not for the heroic women who came forward. And I am inspired by all the brave women who came forward. But more importantly, I believe them. And I thank them for their.
Now, this is the part that I have an issue with. The only way you can really believe that somebody is doing these things is you have to have proof. You got to have some kind of proof. A man is innocent till proven guilty. At least that's the way it used to be in America. You're innocent until proven guilty. But then again, she has the right to believe what she wants. So if Tish James say, hey, I believe them. If Ronald McDonald say, hey, I believe him. If the Grimmers say, I believe them, that's their own personal use. Just because they believe them don't mean it actually happening. Now, in this case, there's evidence. And the evidence is enough to put you in a position of belief. That's what the whole purpose of having a trial and you have a jury. The evidence is supposed to build belief that the person either did it or did not do it. That's the whole purpose. So don't be thrown off when somebody say, I believe it. The point is, what do you believe? To you. Because just because you believe it don't mean I'm going to believe it. And just because I believe it or don't believe it don't mean you don't believe it. My belief ain't got nothing to do with your belief. And in the court of law, when you're going to trial, it's how many people on the jury that believes in it and how many people on the jury that don't believe it. How many on the jury believe he's guilty? How many jury believe he's innocent? That's how it works. But until you go through that process, a man is innocent to proven guilty. So even though all these people came out on Cuomo's situation, it had to be proven guilty. The guilt is on them, not him. Now, with all this evidence, and now Tish James come to a conclusion. He's guilty. And then she had her own personal belief. You're going to get Cuomo going defensive. Why would Cuomo go? Because Cuomo is a narcissist, power hungry, very controlling, very domineering and dominating. He's the epitome of a political mob boss. Don't get me wrong, there's some good things Cuomo has done. Primarily so he can get his resume stacked up for that presidential run, because that's what he's supposed to do. But, I mean, $15 minimum wage in New York City. We got no-cost education if you're making under $250,000 a year or less. We got 7 sick days currently. And look, those things are nothing that he came up with. He didn't create that. He jumped on that. Those things that came from the workforce, from the grassroots, from working people, from people who work in unions. They came up with these, we need this, and he decided to ride it because it would give him momentum going forward in the next governor's race, and the next governor race, which he capitalized on, and possibly presidential race. Now, she says she believe. I believe. Always remember this. Just because somebody of prominent power believe, don't mean you have to believe. Examine the evidence for yourself. Come to the conclusion for yourself. And if you believe, then that's your belief. Still don't shape my belief. Now, the key is how many people you can get to believe it. And then we'll go from there. Well, let me keep going.
Their bravery. And I thank the independent investigators for their professionalism, despite the attacks, and for their dogged determination that brought us to the truth. And now we will hear from June Kim and Ann Clark, who will walk us through the report and their findings.
Now, guys, this is 43 minutes long, so of course I ain't walking through these findings. Take time out and go through it yourself. I'll be here all day, man. You know how 43 minutes to me end up being a 4-hour video. We ain't doing that today, and I ain't got that much space on my computer to be messing around with y'all like that. All right, so what we're going to do now is the decision came out for Letitia James. Letitia using grace and style and not being all ghetto fabulous and, to try to make her point. Okay. Now, we shift over from New York State, Albany, all the way to Washington, D.C., and Jen Psaki, the president's press secretary, was asked a few questions concerning Governor Cuomo. And this is what she had to say.
To him being in charge of the governors and in charge of such a big state, will the president talk to him about these accusations from Democrats in the New York legislature that Cuomo misled the public?
Now, before we get into this video, Governor Cuomo is the top leader for the Governors Association of America, GA, whatever. GAA. And he has been used as the president, being the president of the Governors Association. He figured, this is how I create my platform for president of the United States, because all it is like a lower version of the president of the United States. You got the governor, one governor leading the rest of the governors in the way to go concerning America. Now with these allegations, what a smear on the rest of the governors, because they've been following this guy, a lot of them reluctantly, but they've been following him when it comes to the COVID situation. But we got this scandal over here. And remember, guys, like what I told you, rise and fall of a dictator, one of the things that Hitler did was he allowed medical experiments. He allowed these people to pump all kind of stuff in the Jewish people. All kinds of stuff. Led to a lot of people dying. And that's why I confidently say this is Andrew Cuomo, the rise and the fall of the American dictator. Because in New York City, when there were people on the front lines telling you, look, we found a way to treat COVID early treatment. Well, it's anecdotal. It need to be tested. You need the trial. All right, you still do that, but don't stop telling these people they could go home until you get worse. And if it get worse and your oxygen level go down, then come to the hospital. Stop telling these people that, and let's try to give them something until we come up with something. These people are not anti-vax. These people was not. These are doctors who are trying to save people's lives. We were told that one medicine was approved when there was more than one medicine approved to try to treat people at that time. And this before they came up with any other major routines of treating COVID, before they came up with any vaccine. Cuomo decides to work one. All of them talked about one medicine, and they was miseducating the people and misinforming people, and even, and they wasn't properly educating people about the use of the three regiment protocol. Cuomo would not talk about that, yet these frontline doctors were originating, not that frontline doctors organization, but the doctors on the front line that had to deal with that huge cluster crisis that was going on in New Rochelle. The Jewish doctor who was down there saving people's lives as much as he can with these three regiments, with these three pills, supplement, chemicals, whatever you want to call it. It was working. They decided to use only one, not understanding there was a purpose for each and every one of them. And each and every one of them had a job to do, and nobody said it's secure. But it's a massive help to get you through it if you had it, if you take it early. They took it in emergency situations. They took it as emergency use. The FDA approved one of the medicine of the three medicines that it took, and they approved it for emergency use. They did not approve it for people to be able to take it before they end up in the hospital. As a result of this, people in the healthcare industry was misinformed about some of this stuff, and they would not go nowhere near it. They would not advise it. Matter of fact, someone would discourage them because they want to call it a Trump drug, a Trump regimen. It had nothing to do with Trump. And as a result, Governor Cuomo wasn't giving the information out. He could talk down on the 25% of the 75% that got vaccinated in New York. He could talk down on the 25% and come out with a campaign to pretty much bully them. But when you had an opportunity to get people treated early while they were at home, you failed to do that. And you just, when they did get sick, the hospital was so overwhelmed because you failed to give them the protocol. You put them in nursing homes. Of all places, the nursing home. All these schools were shut down for COVID with all these classrooms. I think just about every classroom has oxygen, a hookup in New York City for oxygens and so on, so and so. And they could have did a triage on all these schools, man. And we got probably like over 100 schools in New York that they could have turned into a hospital, makeshift hospital. This fool decides to put these sick people in places where the most vulnerable live at, the most vulnerable to this dreadful disease. Let's hear this guy's question and listen to Jen Psaki.
About deaths.
Listen to Jen Psaki try to tap dance across this question.
Nursing homes.
Come on, man. Don't want me to back it up or something? Y'all don't want me to back it up? Can I back it up or something? There we go.
In charge of the governors and in charge of such a big state, will the president talk to him about these accusations from Democrats in the New York legislature that Cuomo misled the public about deaths in nursing homes throughout the pandemic?
Well, this is a meeting and a conversation with a range of governors about how we can all work together to address the pandemic and get relief to the American people.
Now, you see how she just skated around this question? She bobbed and weaved. Matter of fact, she ain't bob and weave. She just turned around and put the hand up and ignored the fool and walked the other way. Talk to my hand. I don't want to hear it.
And that's what I expect the focus of the meeting to be on.
There are some Democrats in New York who want congressional hearings about these deaths in nursing homes. There was a Cuomo aide who told lawmakers in February that the Cuomo administration withheld the number of residents who died in hospitals from the public due to the fear that it would be used against them by federal prosecutors. Is this something the White House thinks would be appropriate for a congressional hearing?
It's really up to Congress to determine how they want to review or have hearings on those reports.
And I know you were asked about this weekend, but I'll try again. Does President Biden still think Andrew Cuomo is the gold standard for COVID leadership and that he's doing a hell of a job, which he has said about him?
Well, first of all, I think to be fair, let's put all of the comments in context, which sometimes is missing from these conversations we have in here or during interviews. At the time, which was, I believe, April of last year, the president spoke out and said positive things about a range of governors, Democrats and Republicans, who are stepping in.
No. He put the number one focus on Governor Cuomo as the guy. And the whole American public was ready to replace Joe Biden with Cuomo. So, Jen, stop this foolishness. He was talking good about the governor of California, but not to the level of Cuomo. See, Cuomo got legendary status in the political game, especially in the Democratic Party. So, of course he thought Cuomo was the gold standard, because he know he wasn't. And in order for him to be, he would have had to take advice from Cuomo. But Cuomo was not a gold standard. Matter of fact, he was a Black Rose level standard. He was the Grim Reaper standard on COVID.
When there was a vacuum of leadership at the federal level, when they were getting no information, when they were getting no help and no guidance from the former Trump administration.
And that's a bald-faced lie. Now, mind you, Trump is a horrible communicator, and he should always, that dude don't need to be talking about nothing about medical stuff. I read the letter that the doctor gave Trump about the medication that was being used to treat the Jewish community here in New Rochelle that saved a lot of freaking lives, including mine. And I live right outside of New Rochelle. Trump don't even mention the regiment in its proper order and the purposes of the regiment. At least thing you could have did, idiot, was let the doctor have a say-so and say, this is what we've been using at a press conference, and it may or may not work for you, but it's been working for a lot of people here, and something is better than nothing. Just make sure you get something if you get COVID to keep, because this is keeping people out of hospital. It may keep you out of hospital. You know, again, it may not work. It may not work. It's not approved. It's not a cure. But I'm just telling you what it has done for my community. Trump couldn't even do that. So it's not like the information was not coming out, yeah, there was bad communication. There was information in their hands that they could have shared. But if they did share it, they was going to ridicule him because anything Trump do was wrong. I hate the way he look. I hate the way he talk. I hate the way he dress. I don't like that long red tie going over his big old stomach. I hate the way I hate his wife, and I hate this and I hate that. You got so stuck up in your hate, and I can understand that because that guy's hard to like. That when somebody was yelling to him, President, I got something that may work for the American people. It's proven to, so far in my practice, over 90% people defeat COVID. I don't even give it to the young people because I know most of them going to recover. I only give it to the people who are vulnerable. And yet I don't stop the young people and other people from getting it. I just tell them, wait, and if it get worse, then come holler at me. Bada boom, I'm going to prescribe it for them and they can go and get better. He couldn't even allow that to happen. But it's not like they didn't know that there was a treatment before all this stuff, ivermectin and all that kind of stuff. There was a treatment for that.
He made some positive comments about Governor Cuomo and his role in New York at the time, as he did about a range of governors.
Now, that's not what that man asked. He did not do that. He gave most of the praise and prestige and the accolades and the booty rubbing and all that kind of stuff. Boy, Joe Biden was rubbing, what's his name, booty. Put some oil on it. I'm rubbing it in. You want me to get your back too, Cuomo? Because, Cuomo was looking better than him, so you have to find some way to hit your ride. Worse than them love bugs in Florida. So here we got Tish James guilty. Governor Cuomo is guilty. All right, so we get the answer from Jen Psaki about President Biden and do he think he's the gold standard. But here's some things that they don't talk about. In March, Joe Biden said Andrew Cuomo must resign if the investigation confirms sexual assault allegations. In March now, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, said Andrew Cuomo must resign if the investigation confirms sexual assault allegation. Well, how come you ain't allowed the Tara Reid investigation to happen towards you? See, people get in power and they don't want an investigation. But since Cuomo put his own foot in his mouth and gave Tish James the power to investigate him, and now he don't look so good. Now Joe Biden gonna act like he's on the side of women all of a sudden when he got his own allegations that he wouldn't even let go to an investigation, coming up with every excuse why it will not go to an investigation. In March, President Biden said that Andrew Cuomo should resign if an investigation confirms sexual assault allegation against him. He said in an interview Tuesday that Democratic New York Governor Cuomo should resign. Asked by ABC News George Stephanopoulos, or George stepped in the name of love, if Cuomo should step down if the investigation confirmed the allegation, Biden replied, yes. I think he'll probably end up being prosecuted too, Biden said. Today, an investigation confirmed sexual assault allegation against Cuomo. Now, down at the bottom, say there's no wiggle room for Biden here. Not only has Cuomo been found wanting by the standards Biden himself set at, but as he had made clearly repeatedly, Biden does not believe in due process for those who are accused of sexual assault unless they're made against him, which is true. Let me read that again. There's no wiggle room for Biden here. Not only has Cuomo been found wanting by the standards of Biden himself set out, but as he has made clear repeatedly, Biden does not believe in due process for those who are accused of sexual assault unless they're made against him. So in other words, Joe Biden, believes in due process when it comes to other people. But when it comes to him, no due process. And that's true because there was no due process on the Tara Reid situation. Well, how do you figure this out? How do you prove blah, 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 blah? How do you, there's nothing in the records anymore. I got rid of it. I burned it and I'd get rid of you and burn you if I could, but I can't. But, you're going to derail my candidacy up. Shh, be quiet, girl. Before I make you be quiet. Stephanie calls for Cuomo to be arrested. So you got political leaders that want him gone. House Republican Conference Chairwoman Ella Stefanik New York called for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to be arrested after the investigation found the governor had harassed multiple women. What are you saying that Republican conference chairman woman about what's his name? And God, I can't think of the guy's name. Got the situation with the young girls? But she said he should be arrested. Did they arrest Trump with his allegation? He had a bunch of women come out on him too. Shouldn't he be arrested? Double standard talk. Cuomo defiantly declines to resign, denies wrongdoing after bombshell report, sexual harassment report. Now let's listen to that, because Cuomo said, look, I know, look, okay, she say I'm guilty. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care. I ain't resigning. You can kiss my behind. Just James can kiss my behind, and all the rest of America kiss my behind. I ain't leaving my post. I'm gonna be governor until y'all kill me out of this, until y'all get me out of this seat. Let's listen to what he had to say about this situation.
Over the past several months, you have heard a number of complaints brought against me. I called for an independent review, and I said at the beginning I would let the process unfold. I didn't want anyone to say that I interfered. I said I would hold my tongue, and I have, making only limited comments. It has been a hard and a painful period for me and my family, especially as others feed ugly stories to the press. But I cooperated with the review, and I can now finally share the truth. My attorney,
how you gonna share the truth when they got the evidence that leads to the truth? So tell me how you gonna share the truth. It really gets me how everybody say their side is the truth.
was a non-political former federal prosecutor, has done a response to each allegation, and the facts are much different than what has been portrayed. That document is available on my website. If you are interested, please take the time to read the facts and decide for yourself. First,
so what you got is the facts. Those are your facts. That don't mean they're facts.
I want you to know directly from me that I never touched anyone inappropriately or made inappropriate sexual advances.
You sound just like Bill Clinton. Saying, I did not touch that woman. Miss Lewinsky smells his finger. Pulls out a cigar. Light it up. I did not. Well, let me let you know something very, very clear. I did not touch that woman, Ms. Lewinsky. Boy, these crooked politicians. Look at that old dumb look on his face.
I am 63 years old. I've lived my entire adult life in public view. That is just not who I am. And that's not who I have ever been.
That's just not me. That's just not who I've ever been. I live in New York. Dad is currently still my governor. I voted for him, I think, 2 times, maybe 1, but I didn't vote for him the last time. Let me say this, and then we're done on this one. Then I'm gonna come back later and talk about bullying people who are anti-vax. It's ridiculous and disgusting. You're no different from the people who ran out the Jewish people during the Holocaust. You're no different from the people who are ratting out black slaves who's trying to make it to a land where they can be themselves and build a life. Let me bring this back up. The rise and fall of American Dictator. This man has been so bullish and bull hoggish on a lot of issues. Now, again, to be fair, Cuomo has done some good things in New York. But hey, Nino Brown was giving out turkeys and free food at the same time, serving most of those people crack in the neighborhood and recruiting their kids to hustle for them because mama ain't got no money now. I need you to sell this dope to your mama and everybody else. Even though his strategy on lockdowns and everything concerning COVID worked and was great, at the same time, he kept the knowledge and he kept the knowledge of early treatment away from the New York public as well as the United States public. He deflected and head fake everybody on the HCQ situation. Told me I tried HCQ in an emergency situation. I don't see where it made a difference. Well, fool, you don't supposed to use the HCQ in an emergency situation. It's an early treatment protocol coupled with 2 other medications that you got to use. All 3 of them have a specific purpose, and together all 3 kill the virus, not just one. But the miscommunication that he said had people sitting up there waiting and waiting and waiting till they got better or they got worse and died. New York tough. I guess he figured that word definitely need to go out to the people who live in nursing homes that I'm about to stick these sick people in. Be New York tough. Be New York tough, elderly people. I know you got all these comorbidities and you're more subject to die from this dreadful disease, but I got to put some people in this building with you, right next to you. But be New York tough. Man, get out of here. This guy, man, he need to step down. But Robbie, you going to get a Republican? I don't. That's you get the lieutenant governor, and lieutenant governor, you know. I'm Rob Brown with the Bobby Brown Show on the go. This man is discussing now. He's going around borderline bullying people, strong arming people to get the vaccine, as if that's going to help his situation get better. Dude, you're not going to get 25%. You may strong arm and bully them. But you're going to mess around with the wrong person. They ain't having it. Honestly speaking, I'm glad this guy finally came. I'm glad people finally seeing this guy for what he's truly worth. I've been telling people this for a while, and they didn't believe me, and they became Cuomo-sexuals. Oh, marry me, Cuomo. You got Mr. Morris over here saying marry me, Cuomo, and Miss Morris saying marry me, Cuomo. And this man was killing elderly people, as well as a lot of citizens in New York State who end up catching COVID and wasn't quite in the hospital. But if they would have gave them that regimen, they could have possibly have gotten out of the hospital or not go at all. But because he did not tell people about this. So there's a lot of crap with Cuomo. He needs to go. He needs to step down and get his butt on and go sit on some kind of corporate, drilling board for fracking, because that's what they do. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Show on the go. Always remember this: go out there and make a mark on this world that cannot be erased. If you have not done that today, you can start that today. And it is daytime, so all I can say is good day. Good day.